The Last Stand. The starship Legacy plunged through the void between stars, its hull bearing the scars of 1,000 near misses. Behind it, the Concordat battle fleet pursued with relentless determination, their quantum drives painting purple streaks across space. To their sensors, the Legacy appeared to be nothing more than an obsolete colony vessel, carrying the last remnants of humanity away from their destroyed homeworld. Captain Diana Chen watched the tactical display with outward calm, though her fingers drummed steadily on her command chair's worn armrest. The bridge crew worked in focused silence, their stations illuminated by the soft amber glow of deliberately antiquated displays. To any outside observer, they would appear to be refugees operating salvaged equipment. Exactly as intended. Concordat fleet is maintaining pursuit, Captain. Lieutenant Sarah Mohammed reported from her tactical station. Their targeting systems are having difficulty maintaining a lock due to our inferior shielding creating interference patterns. Chen allowed herself a small smile. The Concordat, like most advanced civilizations, had long ago abandoned what they considered primitive electromagnetic shielding in favor of quantum barrier technology. They had no way of knowing that the Legacy's apparently crude defensive systems were actually generating precisely calculated interference patterns that made their sophisticated targeting systems less effective than simple visual tracking would have been. "How many civilians are still in Creo?" Chen asked, though she knew the answer. Every detail of their mission was etched into her memory, but maintaining the appearance of a refugee ship required keeping up certain pretenses, even among the crew. 10,000, Captain, replied Dr. James Martinez from his medical station. All stable in their primitive cryogenic chambers. His emphasis on the word primitive matched Chen's own dark humor. The Concordat would never suspect that what appeared to be basic cryogenic pods were actually far more sophisticated than anything their civilization had developed. The ship shuddered as another near miss from the Concordat fleet's weapons dissipated against their shields. The Legacy could have easily outrun their pursuers or fought back, but that would have revealed their true nature far too soon. Humanity had learned the hard way that appearing weak was often the strongest position of all. Entering the Epsilon Eridani debris field, announced Navigator Michael Okonjo. Concordat ships are adjusting their formation to compensate for the asteroids. Chen nodded. This was the moment they had been waiting for. Helm. Execute Protocol Omega. Let's show them just how damaged our ship really is. The Legacy's engines began to sputter and fade, creating a convincing impression of a critically damaged drive system. Warning lights flashed across the bridge as automated distress signals began broadcasting on all frequencies. To the Concordat fleet, it would appear that their quarry was finally failing after their relentless pursuit. High Admiral Zextel of the Concordat fleet allowed himself to feel satisfaction as he watched the human vessel falter. Their pursuit had lasted longer than expected. These primitive refugees had shown remarkable resourcefulness in their escape attempt, but the outcome had never been in doubt. The Concordat's superiority was absolute, as it had been for 10,000 years. "My lord," his tactical officer reported, "the human vessel is losing power. Their shields are failing, and their life support systems appear to be shifting to emergency backup. They're broadcasting distress signals on all frequencies." "Excellent," Zextel purred. "Move in to capture range. These humans have led us on quite a chase, but now we can finally examine their vessel and determine how they managed to survive our cleansing of their homeworld. Prepare boarding parties." But as the Concordat fleet moved to surround the apparently crippled Legacy, they failed to notice that the debris field around them wasn't behaving quite according to normal gravitational physics. They had no way of knowing that what appeared to be random chunks of rock and metal were actually dormant human defense platforms, waiting for precisely this moment to awaken. Captain Chen watched the Concordat ships move into position, their formation perfect, their approach textbook, everything proceeding exactly according to plan. She thought about Earth, about the sacrifice they had made to maintain this deception, about the true nature of their mission. The Concordat thought they had destroyed humanity's homeworld. never suspecting that what they had actually destroyed was an elaborate decoy. While the real Earth had been carefully hidden away, its population and knowledge preserved for precisely this moment. All hands, she broadcast across the ship's internal communications. Prepare for Protocol Omega activation. Remember your training. Remember Earth. Remember why we're here. The Legacy's apparent death throes had drawn the Concordat fleet into perfect position. Now it was time to show them why humanity had survived countless extinction-level events throughout its history. It was time to demonstrate why appearing weak was sometimes the strongest position of all. Chen took a deep breath and gave the order that would change the galaxy forever. Execute Protocol Omega. Let's show them what humanity is really capable of. Hidden knowledge. The transformation began subtly at first. Throughout the debris field, chunks of seemingly inert rock and metal began to pulse with a faint blue light. Inside the Legacy, systems that had laid dormant for months quietly hummed to life, their energy signatures masked by the ship's apparent power failure. High Admiral Zextal watched with growing satisfaction as his fleet surrounded the crippled human vessel. Their scans showed exactly what he expected: failing life support, critically damaged engines, and primitive defense systems barely maintaining coherence. These humans had shown admirable resilience, but their technology was simply too primitive to compete with the Concordat's 10 millennia of advancement. Boarding parties in position, my lord, his tactical officer reported. We're detecting approximately 10,000 life signs in cryogenic suspension, plus a minimal crew complement. Their technology appears to be at least 3 centuries behind our current standard. Excellent, Zextal replied. Begin the boarding operation. Remember, we want their database intact. We need to understand how they survived our initial assault on their homeworld. The first warning sign came when the Concordat's boarding shuttles encountered unexpected resistance trying to breach the Legacy's hull. What appeared to be simple metallic plating somehow deflected their quantum-tipped cutting tools. My lord, the tactical officer's voice carried an edge of concern. Our boarding teams are reporting difficulties. The human vessel's hull composition is unusual. Before Zextal could respond, new energy signatures began blooming across his tactical display. The debris field was moving, pieces of rock and metal revealing themselves as cleverly disguised human defense platforms. But that was impossible. The humans were refugees. They couldn't have had time to set up an ambush of this magnitude. Aboard the Legacy, Captain Chen allowed herself a grim smile as she watched the Concordat fleet's formation begin to waver. Execute Phase 2, she ordered. Show them what they're really dealing with. The Legacy's hull began to shift, layers of metamaterial that had been masquerading as primitive plating reconfiguring themselves into their true form. The seemingly antiquated sensor arrays transformed into weapon systems that the Concordat's scans couldn't even detect, let alone defend against. They're powering up, Zextal's tactical officer shouted. But these readings, this is impossible. Their energy signatures are exceeding our theoretical maximums. The truth was finally revealing itself. The Legacy wasn't a refugee ship. It was humanity's ultimate ark, carrying not just survivors, but the distilled knowledge and technology of an entire civilization. What appeared to be simple cryogenic pods were actually advanced bioneural interfaces, keeping their occupants in a state of accelerated learning, absorbing generations of human knowledge while they slept. The debris field erupted into action. What the Concordat had dismissed as random chunks of rock and metal revealed themselves as a carefully orchestrated web of autonomous defense platforms. Each one contained a quantum-entangled node of the most advanced artificial intelligence humanity had ever created, an AI that had been patiently analyzing Concordat tactics and technology for months while playing dead. Captain, Lieutenant Mohammed reported with barely contained excitement, the Concordat fleet is attempting to regroup. Their command ships are falling back to defensive positions. Too late, Chen replied. They've already shown us everything we needed to see. Begin the upload. Throughout the Concordat fleet, ships began experiencing unprecedented system failures. Their quantum barriers flickered and died as human defense platforms transmitted carefully tailored interference patterns. Their neural-linked targeting systems went haywire as they encountered human electronic warfare techniques they had never imagined possible. Zextal watched in horror as his supposedly invincible fleet began to crumble. "How?" he demanded. "They're primitives. We destroyed their world." The answer came in the form of a transmission from the Legacy, Captain Chen's voice calm and clear. "You destroyed what we wanted you to destroy, Admiral. What you thought was Earth was actually humanity's greatest deception, a decoy planet we spent decades preparing. Did you really think a species that survived hundreds of near-extinction events would be so easy to eliminate?" The Legacy's true weapons finally revealed themselves. What appeared to be structural damage on its hull transformed into arrays of quantum-entangled particle accelerators. The ship's supposedly primitive electromagnetic shielding reconfigured into a defensive system that made the Concordat's quantum barriers look primitive by comparison. "You see, Admiral," Chen continued, "humanity learned long ago that the best way to survive wasn't to show off our advancement, but to hide it. While you were busy building bigger ships and more powerful weapons, we were perfecting the art of appearing weak. Every piece of primitive technology you've seen was carefully designed to be underestimated." As if to emphasize her point, the defense platforms surrounding the Concordat fleet began to move with impossible precision, herding the alien ships into a carefully planned kill box. Each platform's actions were coordinated by the Legacy's eye, which had spent months studying and analyzing every aspect of Concordat tactical doctrine. "Now," Chen concluded, "let us show you what humanity's primitive technology can really do." The awakening. What followed would be remembered in Concordat historical records as the Epsilon Eridani revelation. The Legacy's defensive platforms moved with synchronized precision, each one executing maneuvers that defied the aliens' understanding of physics. They didn't fire conventional weapons. Instead, they began broadcasting complex quantum patterns that somehow interfered with the very fabric of space-time around the Concordat vessels. "Full spectrum attack," Chen ordered, her voice steady. "Show them everything except the seed protocols. Those we keep in reserve." The Legacy's hull continued its transformation, revealing layers of technology that the Concordat's sensors couldn't even properly detect. What they had dismissed as rust and battle damage was actually a complex network of self-replicating nanomachines capable of reconfiguring the ship's entire structure in real time. "Impossible," Zextal whispered as he watched his fleet's most advanced weapons dissipate harmlessly against the Legacy's defenses. "Their technology, it's not just advanced. It's beyond your comprehension." Chen's voice came through on all frequencies. "That was the point, Admiral. Humanity learned long ago that true advancement isn't about showing off your capabilities. It's about understanding when to hide them." Throughout the Concordat fleet, ships began experiencing cascading system failures. Their quantum barriers, the pride of their civilization's defensive technology, proved useless against weapons they couldn't even detect. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were systematically dismantling everything the Concordat believed about warfare. "My lord," Zextal's tactical officer reported, his voice shaking, "we're detecting some kind of information warfare attack. Our neural networks are being overwhelmed with data patterns we've never seen before." The Legacy's true offensive capabilities were finally revealed. Each defensive platform began broadcasting complex quantum algorithms that had been specifically designed to exploit weaknesses in Concordat technology, weaknesses that humanity had spent years studying and analyzing. "You see, Admiral," Chen explained as her ship executed another impossible maneuver. "While you thought you were hunting us, we were actually studying you. Every piece of primitive technology you saw was carefully designed to gather data about your capabilities. Every seeming weakness was a carefully crafted sensor array. The cryogenic pods aboard the Legacy weren't just preservation units. They were advanced biomural interfaces that had been feeding tactical and technical data to their occupants throughout their journey. When the time came, humanity would have an army of experts who understood Concordat technology better than the Concordat itself. Signal from the awakening chambers, Dr. Martins reported. The first wave of specialists is ready. Their neural integration with ship systems is at optimal levels. Chen nodded. This was the moment they had been preparing for. Begin the systematic shutdown. Show them what happens when humanity stops hiding. The defensive platforms began executing increasingly complex maneuvers, herding the Concordat fleet into precisely calculated positions. Each movement was coordinated by artificial intelligences that operated on principles the aliens had never imagined possible. The Legacy itself seemed to dance through space, its movements defying every tactical doctrine the Concordat had developed over millennia. "My lord," Zextol's tactical officer called out in panic. "Their ship, it's not just fighting us. It's learning, adapting. Every countermeasure we deploy is being analyzed and neutralized within seconds." The truth was finally becoming clear to the Concordat. They hadn't been chasing a primitive refugee ship. They had been lured into a trap by a civilization that had mastered the art of appearing weak while hiding unprecedented technological sophistication. Deep within the Legacy, the first wave of specialists emerged from their bioneural interfaces, their minds enhanced by years of accelerated learning and direct neural connections to the ship's systems. They brought with them not just technical knowledge, but a deep understanding of how to use it in ways the Concordat would never expect. "You thought you had destroyed Earth," Chen's voice carried across all frequencies again, "but what you actually destroyed was an elaborate decoy. A decoy that took us decades to prepare, yes, but one we were willing to sacrifice to protect our true capabilities. And now, Admiral, you're about to learn why humanity has survived every attempt to destroy us throughout our history." The Legacy's final transformation began, its hull rippling with energy patterns that the Concordat's sensors couldn't even register. The defensive platforms moved into their final attack positions, each one prepared to execute maneuvers that would rewrite the aliens' understanding of what was possible in combat. "Counterstrike. Execute final attack pattern," Chen commanded. "Show them the price of underestimating humanity." The Legacy's transformation reached its apex, the ship now bearing little resemblance to the battered refugee vessel it had pretended to be. Its hull gleamed with an inner light as quantum-entangled particles danced across its surface, creating defense systems that operated on principles the Concordat had never imagined possible. High Admiral Zextol watched in mounting horror as his fleet's formations crumbled. Ships that had been the pride of the Concordat Navy for centuries were being systematically disabled by weapons they couldn't detect, much less defend against. The humans weren't just winning. They were doing it with a precision and efficiency that suggested they had planned this exact scenario for years. "All ships, execute Emergency Protocol 7. Zextol ordered, his voice carrying an edge of desperation. "Retreat to secondary positions and—" His transmission cut off as the Legacy's electronic warfare systems finally penetrated the last of the Concordat's communications defenses. Throughout the fleet, ships began losing contact with each other as carefully crafted quantum algorithms rewrote their neural-linked command systems. "Sir," Lieutenant Mohammed reported from her tactical station, "the awakened specialists have completed their integration. They're requesting permission to demonstrate the full capabilities of the C protocols." Chen nodded grimly. This was the moment they had trained for, the culmination of centuries of careful planning and preparation. Authorization granted. Show them what humanity has been hiding all these years. The defensive platforms surrounding the Concordat fleet suddenly shifted their attack patterns. Instead of merely disabling enemy ships, they began transmitting complex energy patterns that seemed to bend the very fabric of space-time. Ships that tried to retreat found themselves trapped in localized gravity wells that shouldn't have been possible to generate with known technology. "You see, Admiral," Chen broadcast, knowing that despite the communications blackout, the Concordat ships could still receive on certain frequencies. "Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to think differently. While your civilization focused on building bigger weapons and stronger shields, we were developing technologies that operate on completely different principles. The Legacy's true nature was finally revealed. What the Concordat had dismissed as a simple colony ship was actually humanity's ultimate achievement, a vessel capable of not just surviving, but seeding an entire civilization. Every piece of apparently primitive technology aboard was actually part of an interconnected system designed to rebuild human society from scratch if necessary. Neural link established with all defensive platforms, Dr. Martins reported. The awakened specialists are ready to demonstrate our full capabilities. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Show them. The defensive platforms began moving in ways that defied conventional physics, their movements coordinated by artificial intelligences that operated on quantum principles the Concordat had never imagined possible. Each platform generated its own localized space-time distortions, creating a web of gravitational anomalies that trapped the alien fleet in a three-dimensional maze of their own making. Aboard his flagship, Zextal watched helplessly as his fleet was systematically neutralized. Ships that had survived countless battles were being disabled without firing a single conventional shot. The humans weren't just defeating them. They were doing it in a way that demonstrated just how completely they had been outmaneuvered from the very beginning. Ready the final phase, Chen ordered. Let's show them exactly what they've awakened. The Legacy's hull began to pulse with a new kind of energy, one that even their own sensors had difficulty tracking. This was humanity's ultimate defensive technology, the ability to manipulate the quantum fabric of reality itself, not through brute force like the Concordat's weapons, but through a precise understanding of how to affect space-time on the smallest possible scale. To all Concordat vessels, Chen broadcast, what you're witnessing is just a fraction of humanity's true capabilities. We could have destroyed your fleet the moment you entered this system. Instead, we chose to show you exactly why underestimating humanity was your greatest mistake. The defensive platforms began their final attack pattern, each one generating precise quantum fields that intersected with the others, creating a cascade of effects that systematically shut down every system aboard the Concordat vessels. It wasn't just an attack. It was a demonstration of such technological superiority that it bordered on the miraculous. New dawn. When the quantum fields finally dissipated, the mighty Concordat fleet hung motionless in space, every system disabled except basic life support. The Legacy floated among them, its true form now fully revealed, a masterpiece of engineering that represented the pinnacle of human achievement. All Concordat vessels are neutralized, Captain, Lieutenant Mohammed reported. No casualties on either side. The containment fields are holding perfectly. Chen nodded with satisfaction. That had been part of the plan from the beginning. To win without destroying. To demonstrate power through precision rather than devastation. Open a channel to Admiral Zextal's ship. Let's conclude this properly. The Admiral's face appeared on the main screen, his expression a mixture of fear, awe, and dawning understanding. You could have destroyed us at any time, he said quietly. Yes, Chen replied simply. But that was never our goal. The Legacy isn't just a warship, Admiral. It's humanity's gift to the galaxy, if you're willing to understand what that means. As if responding to her words, the Legacy began its final transformation. The quantum-enhanced hull shifted again, revealing delicate arrays of technology that seemed to glow with inner light. These weren't weapons. They were the seed protocols, humanity's true legacy to the stars. What you're seeing, Chen explained, is the culmination of centuries of human innovation. The Legacy carries within it the knowledge and technology to terraform dead worlds, to heal dying stars, to bridge the gaps between different forms of consciousness. We didn't build it to destroy. We built it to create. Throughout the disabled Concordat fleet, crews watched in amazement as their ship systems gradually came back online. Not as they had been before, but enhanced. The Legacy was sharing some of its basic technological innovations, showing them possibilities they had never imagined. Your civilizations have focused on domination through force, Chen continued. Humanity learned a different path. We mastered the art of appearing weak while growing strong, of hiding our advances until they were needed, of understanding that true power lies not in destruction but in creation. The defensive platforms began to shift as well, revealing their secondary purpose. Each one was also a seed ship in miniature, capable of carrying human knowledge and technology to the farthest reaches of space. The entire battle had been both a demonstration and a test of their capabilities. "We offer you a choice, Admiral," Chen said. "The Concordat can continue its path of conquest, in which case we will be forced to reveal even more of our capabilities. Or you can join us in something greater, a true unified effort to unlock the full potential of this galaxy." In the days that followed, the story of the battle spread across Concordat space, then beyond. The civilization that had prided itself on 10,000 years of technological supremacy had been completely outmaneuvered by a species they had dismissed as primitive refugees. But more importantly, they had been shown a new way forward. The Legacy's true mission began to unfold. It wasn't just about preserving humanity or demonstrating their power. It was about spreading a new kind of civilization throughout the galaxy. One based not on dominance and conquest, but on innovation and cooperation. The awakened specialists from the biomural chambers began sharing their knowledge, teaching other species how to see beyond their preconceptions, how to think in ways they had never imagined. The seed protocols were revealed to be more than just technology. They were a new philosophy of existence, a way of approaching the universe that transcended traditional concepts of advancement. 1 month after the battle, representatives from 100 species gathered aboard the Legacy to witness its final revelation. Captain Chen stood before them, her weathered uniform now bearing new symbols that represented not just humanity, but a broader vision of galactic civilization. "What you witnessed at Epsilon Eridani was not just a demonstration of technology," she told them. "It was proof that the path forward lies not in conquest or competition, but in our ability to grow beyond our limitations. Humanity didn't survive countless extinction events by being the strongest. We survived by learning to adapt, to hide our strength until it was needed, and most importantly, to understand that true power lies in creation rather than destruction." As she spoke, the Legacy activated its final protocol. Throughout the galaxy, dormant seed ships that had been waiting for centuries began to awaken, each one carrying the potential to transform dead worlds into gardens, to turn asteroid fields into habitats, to bridge the gaps between different forms of life and consciousness. "This is humanity's true legacy," Chen concluded. "Not the power to destroy fleets or conquer worlds, but the ability to transform them, to take what exists and make it more than it was. The question now is who will join us in this journey." The answer would reshape the galaxy forever, as species after species discovered that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their hidden technology or their capacity for deception. It was their ability to imagine possibilities that others had never dreamed of, and their willingness to share those dreams with anyone brave enough to embrace them. The Legacy had completed its mission, but its journey was just beginning. And in the centuries that followed, the galaxy would learn that humanity's greatest gift wasn't their power to survive against all odds. It was their power to help others do the same.